Hi everyone, it's Nicole here, the Harmonious Hippy. I hope you're all doing very well today, and I am very excited that we are at our final chakra today. I kind of can't believe it's been 7 weeks already. It seems like that went very quick. I'm hoping that everyone is feeling a little bit more balanced, a little more like they've, let some stuff go. Of course, if you're coming to this video on its own, it works as a standalone practice. And with all of these chakra videos, you can always come back to any one of them. You don't always have to do them in sequence. Anytime you're feeling a little unbalanced in a specific area that might be related to a specific chakra, you can always come back to that specific video. Or if there was one of the flows that you just really enjoyed, you can just come back to that as well. So totally fine wherever you're coming to this video from. We are going to look at the crown chakra today. So the crown chakra, I always feel like I'm saying this wrong, in Sanskrit is Sahasrara Chakra. Please do correct me and let me know if I'm saying that wrong. Sahasrara maybe? Sahasrara? Anyone who speaks Sanskrit is probably cringing right now. Please don't hate me. I'm trying. So this chakra is the last of the 7 chakras. We started at the root chakra and moved all of our way up. The crown chakra is located at the top of the head and or the space above. So it's sort of that like ether type of one. This one is a lot more spiritual. So the crown chakra is represented by violet or white. I don't have any white yoga clothes, so I am in violet today, or lilac, I guess. And the sound for this one is actually silence. So Om is the big main one that everyone knows that was related to the third eye chakra that we did last week. There is still a singing bowl for this one, but when it comes to the end, we won't have a chant. It'll just be a silent sort of like feel the resonation of the bowl. Like I said, the crown chakra is related to your spiritual connection, unity, and consciousness. If it's unbalanced, it's going to look like brain and nervous system issues. As well as being someone who's very narrow-minded and skeptical, stubborn, having that feeling like, you can't trust anyone, the world's out to get you, that sort of a thing. It's more like the stuff that's in your head. More of those feelings are going to be linked to an unbalanced crown chakra. So grabbing your crystals, your candles, your outfit. I've got just a lovely, amazing Palo Santo candle with me today, which is the white candle. Crystals wise, I've got quite a few options here. I have moonstone. Moonstone's always good for your crown chakra, as well as clear quartz, amethyst, and selenite. Selenite's a good amplifier, so this is a good crystal to have around at any time, really. It's going to amplify the benefits of whatever crystal you have around you. Do be careful with selenite as it is water soluble. So that's one that you don't want to cleanse in water. This big boy, this is a clear quartz. I keep this at my front door. They're very good for protection and, good vibes, all that kind of thing. Very good for the crown chakra. I am obsessed with this. It's nice and heavy. It's nice to just sit with sometimes. So get whatever crystals you have, whatever you're feeling, any items that speak to you today. Again, we're at the final singing bowl, so it's a teeny tiny little bowl. It's going to be very high. And I also thought it would be nice for me to draw an angel card at the beginning of our practice today and see what kind of is resonating there. So that's all we need. We don't need any props today for this practice. Of course, if you do typically like to use props like a block, for me, I usually bring a block to sit on at the beginning. I've got my squishy little knee pad. If you have anything like that you want to bring, you can do that. Some tea, water. Otherwise, we are just good to go with our bodies today. So let's get going. Okay, everyone. So just as usual, coming to your cross-legged seated position. If you would like to begin on a couch, on a chair, your bed, instead of sitting directly on the floor, you can do that. If you want to come to sit on a pillow on the floor or a block, something raised so that you can get that anterior tilt to the pelvis, lower the knees a little bit beneath the hip joint, then that might feel a little bit more comfortable for you. Whatever's going to feel good for you as we have our, initial meditation that we always have. So first things first, I'm going to draw an angel card for us. And when I draw just one card like this, and it's a situation where I am in the present, but you're not necessarily in the present with me, the thing that I sort of ask, or the energy that I'm sort of putting out, is sort of what do we all need to hear? What do we collectively need to hear? What's going to help someone whenever they come to this video? Because who knows, maybe 2 weeks from now you watch this video and the card is resonating with you. Maybe it isn't. You never know. It's the fun of cards. You kind of get to decide yourself if you're going to believe it or not. So just closing down the eyes, coming to your seated position. As we're working with the crown chakra, the spiritual chakra today, let's put our palms face up, rolling the shoulders up and back, nice and open across the chest. Closing down the eyes, slightly tucking the chin just to make sure you're growing up nice and tall through the crown of the head. Just beginning to move your breath in and out through the nose. Beginning to tune into the body, tune into this present moment here. And as always, if you've done the previous 6 videos, you may be sort of used to how we start the class. So you may already be scanning through the body, checking in with the breath, checking in with the mind. So we're just observing, painting a picture for ourselves of where we're at as a whole today. These practices aren't particularly long, so just endeavor to keep your mind on your body, on your breath, on your mat today, just for this quick practice. Just focusing on you and what you need, not on your list, not on what needs to be done after this practice is finished, not on what happened at work today. Letting that go just for now. Maybe you're going to dwell on it and stew about it later. That's fine. It's human. Just try to let it go for right now. Just an hour. And beginning to tune into the mind, seeing what's stirring there. Are there a lot of emotions today? Are you feeling frazzled or anxious? Maybe you're already starting to feel frustrated. The slowness of my voice. If you've had a really busy go, go, go day, listening to a yogi voice can be kind of annoying. Admittedly, it can be kind of annoying at first. Why are you talking so slow? Just observing that if that's what's present in yourself. It won't hurt my feelings. It's okay. Your feelings are valid. And perhaps, depending on what kind of a day you've had, maybe you can allow the corners of the mouth just to turn up slightly. Just feel content that you're on your mat for this time for you. Recharge yourself. Refill your cup. And as we're working with our crown chakra today, I am going to lead this practice as a little bit more of a spiritual, hippie kind of feel. So if you're more of an athletic side of yoga and you don't really necessarily enjoy or buy into the hippie stuff, just bear with me here. Take it for what it is. Or maybe something will resonate with you today. You never know. Or maybe you're sitting there going, of course all of this hippie stuff is real and makes sense with yoga. Why are you even giving this disclaimer? You know, just knowing that everybody comes to yoga from different backgrounds, different places, different mindsets. So wherever you are, just knowing that if I'm talking about something that's uncomfortable for you or doesn't resonate with you, it's okay to just not do what I'm asking you to do, particular visualization or something throughout the practice today. You don't have to take part if you don't want to. Just like with our physical practice, always making sure we're doing what feels good for our body. Always want to make sure that you're doing what feels good for your mind as well. So if I'm telling you to chant, you don't have to chant. If I'm telling you to do a particular breathing exercise, if it's not feeling good, you don't have to do it. Just like with poses. If they don't feel good to you, don't do them. So with this meditation, before I pull this card, just invite you to sort of broaden your place in this space, knowing that your physical body is taking up space, but also just expanding the mind. I almost like to visualize almost like smoke or cloud sort of beginning to float or beam up out of the crown of the head, almost like a satellite or a beacon. And this is sort of the space that you can't see, but the space that tethers you to the oneness. Everybody else in the world, we're all connected through this expanse, this space. No matter how far people are from you, we're all here together in this experience of life. And it's also your tether to the more spiritual world. Depending on what you believe, it could tether you to a god or a deity, to the angels, to your guardian angels specifically, or just to the spiritual realm. Maybe you don't believe that there is a specific person or figurehead, or even that there's angels. Maybe you don't view it as a humanoid or a being in any way, but you sort of view it as a space, almost as if it is space. Whatever your visualization is, whatever feels best for you to think about, just view that light, that smokiness rising up from the crown of the head. Just a beautiful white light, an iridescent shining light, almost as if you were to tilt it in different directions, it would pick up every color of the rainbow. And this is that core connection, connecting you to everything. This is your direct highway to your spiritual realm. So just visualizing that the crown of the head is open, almost like the petals of a lotus flower, allowing this highway of information to flow between yourself and your spiritual world, allowing any messages that you might need to hear, maybe letting out some questions or things you've been worrying about, knowing that you're safe to do so. And while you just, with curiosity, allow the mind to be open, I'm just going to begin to shuffle the cards. And these are angel cards, so they're not standard tarot deck. So I'm just sort of thinking to myself as I shuffle, we're here to receive whatever messages the universe would like to give us, whether in this exact present moment that I'm recording this video, maybe it'll find relevance to someone in the future who watches the video. Just let us know what we need to hear. If there's a specific message that will resonate here. You're open to receive. So I'm just going to pull the top card here. And I do apologize, I'm not a very practiced tarot reader, so I will use the book for this reading. Let me just put these cards in here. And we have drawn the Page of Earth. So I will include a picture of the Page of Earth here. And the Page of Earth, for those of you that don't know, there are typically suits in a tarot deck, which are the cups, wands, swords, and pentacles. With this angel tarot deck, it is the elements. So we've got earth, fire, air, and water, as well as major arcana cards as well. So we've drawn the Page of Earth. And let me just whip over to that page. We're in air right now. Here we are. So for the Page of Earth, there are situations, people, and additional meanings for each of these higher cards in the suits. So it can relate to you specifically. It can relate to maybe another person. It can be past or present or other life even. You kind of take it however it resonates with you. So it's not something that's very static. You can really, stretch it to make sense for you. So situations. Good news about financial matters is coming soon. Your plans move successfully forward at a steady pace. You may adopt a new interest or passion. People. A youth who's a student or enjoys studying. Someone who can be optimistic but still realistic about what can be accomplished. Successful, dependable, patient, frugal, and trustworthy. Additional meanings. Doing your research, wisdom beyond one's years, a return to school, or materialism. So that's very interesting. Sorry, I need to uncross my legs here. I've got a dead foot. So the way I'm sort of viewing this card for us in this moment today, it's sort of feeling like a good omen, like an end to this very rough time we've all been having since 2020, the start of the pandemic. The good news, the good financial news. I know a lot of us had some very unfortunate and tragic times with COVID and losing jobs and businesses. So I sort of am seeing this as almost a return, especially with it noting that the person, if you will, would be dependable and patient, those kinds of things, feels sort of like be patient and we're getting there. So that's sort of what I'm feeling for this card. Of course, you can always take it how you take it as you hear me reading it out. Sometimes something might just immediately pop into your head. So my sort of translation of what I've read in the book may not resonate with you, and that's totally fine. That doesn't mean I'm not saying what's 100% right. It's just what's sort of sticking out to me. So this seems like a very good news, like good things are coming. Yeah, it's feeling good. I'm liking that one. It feels relevant as well for our crown chakra, as that is the more spiritual chakra, to have a card that's drawn that's related to sort of the material, studies, logic, money, finances, those kinds of things. It feels very balancing that we're dealing with this chakra today, and then we pulled a card that was very logical and more rooted. So that's at least my explanation for it in this moment. So as we begin to just complete our meditation here, perhaps your eyes drifted open as I was explaining this. Obviously, I said I would put in a picture of the cards, so you likely looked at that. And that's no worries with that. There's no stress. You don't have to be seated always with your eyes closed in a straight spine to be meditating. So just kind of coming back to that space, tuning back into the body, feeling that card maybe resonating within you. Perhaps you're trying to puzzle it out and what it means for you. Just letting that go for now. And just coming back into the body, into the breath, as we prepare ourselves for some movement. Just taking a few cleansing breaths here, so deep breath in through the nose. Opening the mouth, let that go. Do that twice more. Deep inhale through the nose, gather up any stress or tension. With sound. Last one, perhaps lifting the shoulders up to the ears, scrunching the face. And exhale, let that go. So blinking the eyes open here, we are going to do a quick breath practice at the very beginning here, so you can sort of keep the eyes heavy or close them again. Again, adjust yourself if you're feeling uncomfortable. I had my foot fall asleep, so I've sort of moved around a little bit. So just find your space where you're going to be comfortable. We won't be sitting here too much longer. So again, you can close down the eyes. We're going to do the box breath. So this is sort of an equal breath. We're going to begin with 4 and move up through the counts as we go. So just really tuning into the breath and focusing on sort of slowing it down and really lengthening it out. So beginning with our inhale, we're going to inhale to a count of 4, 2, 3, 4, and exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one with 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Switching to 5, we're going to inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And switching to a count of 6 or 7, whatever is comfortable for you. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Taking a deep inhale through the nose. Fill up the lungs. When you have the lungs filled up, take one more little sip of air and opening the mouth. Turning the breath back to normal. We're going to come down to tabletop. So removing any props, perhaps grabbing something to place under your knees. I'm just going to start with some small movements here. So lining the knees up under the hips and the wrists, under the shoulders, spreading through the fingers. We're going to move into some cat-cows. So inhale, dropping the belly, tilting the tailbone up towards the sky, opening through the chest. Gaze can come up if that's comfortable for the neck. Deep inhale, letting the belly drop. And on your exhale, pressing into the hands to peel the shoulder blades apart, curling through the upper back, pressing chin to chest. Squeeze that last bit of air out. And inhale, dropping the belly, opening the front and back body. Exhale, squeezing that out, pressing into the upper back. Inhale. Exhale. Just flowing with your own breath here for a few more of these. Just working into the spine, into the upper back. Just getting some movement in. Nice and slow, really letting the belly expand and contract. And completing your last exhale. Coming back to a neutral spine. We're just going to start to sit back towards our heels as if we were going to come into a child's pose, but keeping the knees together here. We're going to come into rabbit pose. So if you have issues with your neck, slipped discs, anything like that, please do stay away from this pose as there will be a little bit of weight on the crown of the head. If you're okay placing weight on the head, then that's fine. You don't want a ton of weight on your head, obviously, but just make sure that you're staying safe with this. If it doesn't feel good for you or you have one of the afflictions previously mentioned, you can just come into your child's pose here. It's just a really nice inversion and it helps to stretch the upper back. So we're going to reach for our heels here and start to bring the crown of the head towards the floor. So once we've dropped our crown onto the floor, this might be a little hard with my crazy bun I've got going on. We're in a little tiny little nugget here. That's the best word I could think of for it. We're going to hold onto the heels and start to lift the bum. So pressing into the crown of the head, not too much weight in the head, but almost rolling yourself forward onto the crown of the head, right where my bun is. So I'm having a little trouble rolling over it. So if you have a hair in a bun, maybe just take that out for a second. So really stretching into the neck and the upper back. Breathing. And then just sinking the bum back towards the heels, bringing the hands to the ground, not coming up too quick, starting to slowly sit up. And coming up onto the knees, we're going to move into puppy pose, our nice shoulder stretch. So again, we want to keep the hips over the knees, just beginning to sink down, bringing your chest towards the floor here. So sliding the hands out in front of you, you can bring your forehead to the mat. You can stay here, really pressing into the hands to feel that stretch across the chest and the shoulders. If you would like to go a little bit deeper and you manage to get your chest to the floor, you can lift the head up and place the chin on the floor, but only if your chest is touching. So you don't want to be kind of floating in the air trying to lift your chin. So only if you have your chest on the floor, then you can look up and place the chin down. Breathing into the stretch, pressing into the hands. And pressing into the hands, slowly, slowly coming up. I'm going to remove my little knee prop here. Sorry, I'm hoping that you can hear me well enough. Still haven't quite figured out the mic, so bear with me all. Alrighty. So coming into our tabletop position, we're going to press into all of the knuckles, spreading the fingers nice and wide, curling the toes under. We're going to press the hips up, coming into our downward facing dog here. So pedaling out the feet here, maybe rolling one ankle and then the other. Just making whatever movements you need to get more comfortable in this posture. Really making sure that you're grounding through the thumb and the pointer finger to keep the wrist at the right angle, at the right direction, I guess. And sinking in between the arms, perhaps coming up high onto the tippy toes, bending the knees, and then pressing the belly to the thighs. Why can I never remember the word thighs? And then dropping the ankles and the heels down towards the ground. Again, as I always mention, the heels never have to touch the ground in a downward dog. Just getting that energetic feeling that they're sinking towards the ground. And you can always keep the knees bent as well, engaging in the core. Inhale, gazing up at the thumbs, and just walking yourself to the top of your mat into your forward fold. Letting the head hang, perhaps shaking the head yes and no. Reaching for opposite elbows here. Just taking a moment here. Rocking side to side. Bending into one knee and the other. You can keep the knees quite bent here if that's more comfortable for your hamstrings. Just breathing. And just releasing the hands to the ground, bending into the knees, beginning to curl the spine, rolling up, using every inch of the spine. The head is the last thing to come up. And when we reach the top, just rolling the shoulders up and back, up and back. Whew. Alrighty. We are going to do some sun salutations to your Namaskar A. So coming to the top of the mat, into your Tadasana, mountain pose. As always, immediately tucking the tailbone, engaging the core slightly, rolling the shoulders up and back, palms come to face forward, energetically pulling up all of the energy from the ground, up the legs, up the knees, engaging the quads, nice and strong here, growing tall through the crown of the head. Feeling sturdy and steady, connected to the earth, while also growing up tall through that invisible tether out the crown of the head. Just keeping you connected with your grounding and with your spiritual self, the universe. Inhaling the arms up overhead, palms to touch. You can take a baby back bend here. And exhale, folding forward, hands come to the ground, let the head hang. Inhale, hands to shins, coming to your halfway lift, nice flat back here. Exhale, fold, planting the hands, stepping or hopping back to your high plank. You can drop the knees or come through chaturanga, slowly coming to the belly. Inhaling into your baby cobra or your upward facing dog. And then exhaling to your downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Inhale, gazing up at the thumbs, stepping or hopping to the front of the mat. Forward fold, head hangs. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back. Exhale, fold. Bending into the knees, sweeping the arms up overhead, palms to touch. And exhale, hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. We're going to do that twice more. So inhaling, sweeping the arms up overhead, palms to touch, maybe a baby back bend here. Exhale to fold. Head hangs. Inhale, halfway lift, keeping the neck nice and long, gaze at the floor. Exhale, fold, planting the hands, stepping or hopping back to your high plank, coming through knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhaling into your back bend, your baby cobra, or your upward facing dog. And exhaling back into your downward facing dog, taking a breath here. Inhale, gazing up at the thumbs, step or hop to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bending into the knees, sweeping the arms up overhead, palms to touch. And exhale, hands to heart center. Last one. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, baby back bend. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Plant the hands, step or hopping back. High plank, chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Inhale, baby cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Inhale, gazing up at the thumbs, stepping or hopping to the front of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bending into the knees, sweep the arms up overhead, palms to touch. Exhale, hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Closing down the eyes. Taking a breath. Allowing the breath to return to normal if you lost it a little in that flow. And noticing if you still feel connected through the feet and through the crown. Still growing tall, taking up space. And releasing the hands to the side. We're going to come into a balance here. We're going to come into our tree pose. So choosing whichever side you'd like to start with and rooting down into that foot. So really rooting down to rise up. So pressing into the floor, pulling your crown up tall, perhaps lifting your opposite foot. Maybe your tree pose today looks like this. This is still a tree, it just has wider roots. So coming to this position, hands can be on the hips or in Anjali Mudra. Beginning to perhaps raise the foot to the calf, making sure that it is never on the knee, so you don't want to be pressing on the knee joint here. And you can move very slowly. You don't have to come into the full expression of the pose immediately. You can take your time here. If you'd like to come a little deeper, perhaps grabbing the foot, bringing it all the way up into the inner thigh, pressing the heel into the thigh and the thigh into the heel. Perhaps opening your branches. If you feel super sturdy here, perhaps playing with lifting the gaze to the ceiling, swaying your branches, or maybe try closing the eyes, noticing how that changes the pose, and slowly bringing the hands back to heart center, releasing the foot down to the ground. Give that a little wiggle and a shake. Release that. If you're not used to going barefoot or doing balancing poses, this can be very intense on the balancing foot. So just shaking that out. Just try it a little bit every day. You'll get to a point where you sort of don't even notice that your foot is gripping. So moving to the other leg, you have to always equalize the body. So making sure what you do on one side, you do to the other. Maybe coming into your nice, wide, sturdy base. And perhaps lifting the leg up to the calf. Again, never on the knee. And you'll always notice that one side is quite different than the other. Typically this side for me is a lot. I don't have the strongest ankle on this side. which funnily enough, this is not the ankle that I hurt. So now I've got 2 weak ankles. Wonderful. Perhaps reaching down, grabbing the foot. Ooh. Moving slowly. And if you fall down, just coming back up, trying it again, making sure that you're staring at a point, a drishti, a focal point that is not moving. So if you really want to try this pose, it's probably not best to be looking at me right now. I am moving. She flailing. There we go. Oh, and for some reason on this side, it feels like I'm ripping my thigh off. So as always, you don't need to stay in it. That was really uncomfortable for me, so I'm not going to do it. Plain and simple. Maybe open your branches. Maybe you're really sturdy, closing the eyes, trying that out. And when you're ready, just slowly releasing that back down, wiggling that out, shaking out the feet. Whew. Alrighty, we are going to step the feet out nice and wide. So we want to have our toes pointing in a little bit and our heels kind of out, or just right in line if that works better for you. Nice and strong in the legs, making sure that we're not overextending. You still want to be pulling the kneecaps up the legs, tucking the tailbone, hands to the hips. We're going to protract the chin as if we're painting down the wall in front of us, hinging at the hip, and starting to come forward. If you would like to bring a block under you, you can do that, or just placing the hands on the ground and just releasing the head. If your hands aren't touching the ground, you can just reach for opposite elbows, just rocking side to side. We're going to move into an inversion here, so if you do have a nice high bun like I did, maybe just removing that for a moment. And we're going to move into a headstand. So anything that puts a little bit of pressure on the crown of the head is really good for the crown chakra. So that's why we did the rabbit pose at the beginning, and a nice inversion like a headstand is nice for that chakra as well. So let me just not be upside down for a second. So the way that we can come into this is with a tripod headstand, which I find more comfortable coming in from a wide-legged pose, or we can do our little triangle kind of headstand. This one I prefer to come into in a different way, so I will show you both. If you would like to come into it from a forward fold, I'll show that second. So if you want to come in sort of the standard way, then you can come on down. This mic, man, it's not, it's playing with me. So we're going to start with our little hand placement. We do want our shoulders to be lined up under, our elbows to be lined up under our shoulders. So you want to make sure that you're not too close together. You do want to be where your shoulders are, not too wide, not too close. So just check that out for yourself, placing the arms on the ground. We also want to interlace the fingers here, and then think of yourself putting your weight onto this. What is this going to do for this little pinky here? That's going to squash that bad boy. So I like to slide my pinky so that it's in line with my other one, and that gives me a little bit of a wider base as well. So just slide that pinky in, and then think of holding a little egg. You want about an egg size shape with your hand. Now the base of your hands here are what's going to be coming into the back of your head. And with the placement of our head for our headstand, if I can get my electrical shock looking hair out of the way, what we want to look for is that we're not necessarily right on the top of our head. That's actually a little farther forward than we need. So the crown of the head is typically where, for example, my bun was. So it's a little farther back than you think it's going to be. So just lining your hands up, and we're going to bring the head down so that the back of the head is against the, what are these, the wrists, the base of the hands. And from here, you just want to press in. If you look at my shoulders right now, when you're upside down, you want to press the floor away. I'll show you from this side as well, so you can really see how the muscles kind of work. So you don't want to sink in. You want to press into the floor. So it's like you're trying to pull the shoulders away from the ears. So from here, dropping the head down, and we're going to just lift up as if we're in a downward dog. Noticing how comfortable you are here. I don't like a lot of weight dumping into my head, so I'm pressing into my forearms here, pressing the floor away. Try and walk your feet as close as you can towards your body. So open in the hamstrings is very helpful when you're trying to do a headstand. Oh, it is hard to talk while you're upside down, y'all. Good gracious. Oh, my hair looks insane. Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. We're not here to be pretty, you guys. Thank God. So dropping the head, we're going to lift up, walk the toes in close. From here, you can lift one foot and maybe try lifting the other. Seeing how that feels. Try the other foot. And again, making sure you're not dumping into the head. Press into the forearms here. Try the other side. From here, you can come into what I call a little package. So pressing the feet up. Taking as many breaks as you need to. Not coming right up. You want to sort of stay in like a child's pose position, keeping the head down. And breathing. As always, you can do this against a wall as well if you're nervous about tipping over. So make sure you're breathing while you're upside down especially. All right, here I go. Let's hope I can actually do it today, or I'm going to look like a poser. So starting to kick up, coming into your little package. So you want your hips to be over your shoulders. I sort of cheated that. So again, pressing into the forearms and then straightening the legs. I like to floint my toes, which is a mix between pointing and flexing. And when you're ready to come down, just dropping a leg, nice and slow, coming into your child's pose, releasing the neck, breathing. So that's sort of one way you can come into your headstand. And always make sure that you take your child's pose or your opposite pose for about as long as you were in the headstand, just to allow the kind of blood to even back out again. And to catch your breath. Now, coming back up to our forward fold, I'm also going to show that variation as well. So this one I find a little bit easier just because there's a little bit of a wider base. So I like to step my legs out nice and wide here so that I can really get my head easily down to the ground. If your head doesn't touch the ground from a wide-legged pose, I would try the other version of headstand, because you don't want to be like falling onto your head. So try and make sure that your head can actually touch the ground here. You can bend the knees too. Try and see if you can get there. You can also come into this, it's called, in the young child gymnastics classes that I used to do, it was called a teddy bear headstand. So you can come in from there as well, which is just coming in from a squat. So from there, you're going to put your head on the ground. Similar. All right, so we're in our wide-legged pose. We're reaching down. The head is on the ground. From here, we're able to press into the hands instead of having our forearms down. Now, you may start to grow light in the feet, bringing the weight forward, coming up onto your tippy toes. Just play with that a little. Rock forward and back. Again, making sure that you're not rocking forward into the shoulders, pressing the shoulders away from the ears. And maybe eventually one day they just pop up off the ground. And then you can bring them up to center, etc. If you're going to come into it from a teddy bear headstand, do not press yourself up fast like I just did. That's a bad idea. We're going to have our little triangle still, our shape. So bringing the head to the ground, we're going to bring our knees onto the arms here. So here I am in my little teddy bear pose. From here, I'm going to use the core, which is the hard part for me, to pull my legs up off my arms. Ta-da. Whew, that is hard. So trying whichever of those variations you'd like, just playing with it. Holy moly, making sure that you're not, jumping up right after doing it. Do take your time to allow the body to reset. I apologize if my breathing is like a foghorn in this mic. Whew, trying to get my breath back, y'all. Alrighty. So, playing with whichever headstand variation you enjoy, holding it for as long as you'd like. This is also a really fun one to play with closing the eyes, depending on how stable you feel, if you feel like you're safe to do so. Another way to sort of gain stability or comfort in an inversion is to practice falling out of it first. So for me, when I start to fall out of a headstand, I don't let myself just slam to the ground. I immediately curl my body, so I do a forward roll. So maybe try a couple somersaults first, so you feel comfortable falling. If I were to do it on this floor, it would hurt my spine a little bit because it is a tile floor, but at the end of the day, it's not going to cause a dramatic injury. If I were to flip over on this side, I would smash into my cat tree, but it's something that I'm quite stable with, so I feel okay doing it. I wouldn't practice my handstand facing this because I know I'm probably taking that thing down, and that's not going to be good for me or the cats, so they will riot if I break their stuff. I hope you guys have been holding a headstand this whole time. Oh, okay. We did our headstand. Ideally, from a wide-legged forward fold, headstand, brought the feet back down. Here we are. Magical. Take a little halfway lift here. And then start to wiggle your feet, almost like you're trying to turn your toes out. We're going to come into Malasana or garland pose or yogi squat. So technically, when you see pictures of this, people have their toes forward and they're in that deep squat. Myself, I have bow legs and not very stretchy ankles. So for my anatomy, that's just not going to happen. So I have my feet turned out. You want to have your heels coming as close to flat on the ground as you can. So if you want to come to a block, you can do that as well. I just sort of rock side to side until I feel that sweet spot where I know I can drop both ankles. I bring the hands to Anjali Mudra, prayer pose, press the knees open, lift the shoulders away from the ears, and I can kind of hang out here for a little while. It gets more comfortable. I remember when I first was practicing Malasana, my legs were burning. So if you want to come to sit on a block here, that's totally great. It's a really nice hip opener. Just pressing the knees away. Whatever is going to be comfortable for you. Even if you can only hold it for a tiny bit and then come out, just keep trying it. Like I said, it's gotten a lot more comfortable for me to sit here like this than it used to be. It definitely was hard for me. So from here, we're going to come to seated very gracefully. And we're just going to take a little forward fold. We have another little sequence, an inversion sequence, which is a little bit more advanced than the headstand, I would say. So there's definitely an option to either practice your headstand again, take child's pose, do another pose that you've been playing with maybe. With any of these videos, which I'm sure to some people is probably obvious because it's not like I'm present. I can't really see you and yell at you if you're doing something crazy. Obviously always moving with safety, but if you decide you don't feel like doing the pose we're doing and you want to play with something else, maybe your crow pose, go right ahead and do that. Totally cool. So just bringing the soles of the feet together, maybe rocking side to side a little bit. We're just going to do a little forward fold just to kind of release the neck. So inhale, growing up nice and tall, pulling against these shins so that you can sit up nice and tall and hinge from the hip here. We're going to start to hinge forward with a flat back. Reach that spot where you feel like you can't come forward anymore with the flat back. Inhale, create a little bit more space. And that's where you can exhale, fold down, releasing the neck heavy. Just breathing comfortably here. Releasing the neck, releasing the shoulders from our headstand. And then slowly bringing yourself back up, maybe dropping the ear to each shoulder. Just letting that go. We are going to come into our Pincha Mayurasana. So this is one that is, or was at least, a very sort of fad yoga pose. This is the one that people would post their impressive photo of them in their Pincha on their Instagram, and everyone would trip. It is stunning. It's beautiful. It can be very rewarding when you hit it. For me personally, and I also find the one that was a little bit more shown was Scorpion Pose. So this is a forearm balance, and the Scorpion is the forearm balance where your legs are coming towards your head. Personally, I find that one easier than the standard Pincha Mayurasana, feathered peacock pose, which is the one where your legs are straight up instead of coming over, because for me, with my brain, it just makes more sense for me when I'm counterbalancing myself, which is the easy way out, because I can counterbalance, I can figure out where I need to be with my legs so that I can hold the pose. Whereas with straight legs, you gotta have the strength. So unfortunately, you gotta have a lot of core strength. You have to sort of be able to figure out where you need to go. So it can be a lot harder. So the pose that we are going to practice today is Pincha Mayurasana, feathered peacock. It is the one where you're straight. If you happen to kick over and hook your legs and you're in a scorpion, I don't hate you. Ideally, even coming into scorpion, you would want to come into the straight leg first. Make sure that you're nice and strong there, and then starting to sink the legs towards the head, lifting up the chest. You do want to come into anything in yoga with, ease, with stability, and relatively slowly. Throwing yourself into a pose is more of a gymnastics kind of thing. Not to offend the gymnasts out there, it still takes an amazing amount of strength to come into a scorpion pose, and the flexibility. It's just that it's something that you move a lot faster. So yes, ideally we don't want to always be just kicking into our scorpion pose, because that can be hard on the lower back as well. You want to be able to come into it from a place of, okay, I'm really stable now, just like our tree pose. We stabilize the leg first, then we move deeper. That kind of an idea. We're going to come into this from our dolphin pose to start off with. I would suggest, again, practicing falling out. So again, for me personally, it's sort of a forward roll kind of situation. With my hands, I sort of just, if I start to fall, I immediately tuck my head, and my hands kind of end up coming like this, sort of. You kind of figure it out as you fall, unfortunately. So I'm going to back up a bit so that if I fall forward, I'm not going to smash into that. Give yourself some space. You can also try it against a wall. If it's just not working for me, I may splice the video and come to a wall to show you guys, just so it's, not completely useless of me flailing around and telling you what to do, but not actually being able to show you what to do. Though, hey, it's a practice for all of us, right? We're all students here. So coming into our dolphin pose, this is our, like a downward dog on your forearms. So dropping the forearms down, we want to have the hands planted, and then we're just going to tuck the toes and lift the tailbone, pressing the chest in between the elbows here, just playing with this stability. Seeing how that feels, maybe coming down, moving the shoulders around a little bit. I'm going to start to back up here. I think I'll be okay with that amount of space. Maybe I'll just cut it out if I fall. So if it goes from this to me sitting down, you'll know that it was a fail. So we're nice and comfortable here. I always like to kind of bring my palms together, or bring the hands into a clasped position once I sort of kick up. I find it hard for me to keep my hands placed down. They sort of automatically slide in towards each other. You can always practice with a block in between the hands as well. I just find, for me personally, I like the freedom of being able to just slap my hands together. That may not be proper instruction though, but don't call the police. Don't call Yoga Alliance on me. So I'm going to press my hands down as if I'm coming into a dolphin pose here, lifting my bum up. It's the same thing as with your headstand. You want to start to walk your feet in towards you. This is where I already feel that I want to put my hands together, so I'm just going to. Now, we don't want to be here. You see, if I were to line up straight from here, my chesticles are going to bring me right back down. So you want to line your head almost up with your hands and your chest in line with your elbows. Depending on your anatomy, of course, it might be a little bit different for you. So you want to lift up and then start to sink forward a little bit, gazing at the ground, walking the feet in nice and close, maybe lifting one leg, practicing a little kickoff, seeing if you can sort of catch yourself in a bit of a stag leg. Whew, my quad feels like it's going to cramp. Getting the cat litter off your toe, because when your weight's all together on a piece of cat litter, it feels like it's stabbing you. All right, we're going to do that again, trying to kick with the other side. This is how you sort of find your comfortable leg. So just trying a couple kick-ups, pressing into the forearms, seeing if you can kick yourself up into it. Some people can float up into it, something that comes with practicing with strength. Kicking up into it is fine. That's not, bad. That doesn't make you less of a yogi or something. So I'm going to try it a couple more times. I don't feel like I'm going to be able to kick into it, so I will likely splice the video and bring us to a wall. But let's just see if we can get into it. All right. Whew. Y'all, it is so hard to talk upside down. My goodness. I'm going to slide my mat back a little bit because it is hard to kick off the tile floor as well. So, I'm bringing the hands down. Like I said, I like my hands together. Try and keep them like this if you like. See what you like to do. You can use a Kleenex box or a block as well. So, pressing up, sinking the chest forward, walking the feet up close, lifting a leg, playing with your stag leg a little. Ooh, caught a little bit of airtime there. And seeing if you can, ta-da, nailed it. That was it, you guys. I'll show you a scorpion pose too in case I can do it, which will also, if I fall, show you how to kind of flip out of it. So, and this, like I said, I sort of kick straight into the scorpion pose, which is not ideal, but, things to play with. Fun things to try. And this is where you can see that you kind of can counterbalance yourself a little bit more. So this one, and there I go. Now, see how I flipped? My arms let go. I'm on my back. I slide back down. I sort of caught myself with my feet as well, which is why you want to be on a yoga mat and not straight on a tile floor because your feet may slide out or, socks on a carpet, something like that. Oh, but that didn't hurt at all. Like, I feel totally fine. I sound breathless, but, the breath is something else. I just can't breathe ever. So trying it a few times, just playing with it, seeing what you can do. I also would suggest that you record yourself. It's very fun because that first time that you actually catch a little bit of hang time, you're like, oh, it's so exciting. And to be able to see it on camera, and it also is very cool to see on camera as well when you're like, man, I don't understand why I couldn't get that. You watch yourself on camera and you see that your chest was back here. So no wonder. So now when you try it again, sink forward a little more. I'm going to actually try it one more time because I was feeling a little bit good with that straight leg one. I felt like that was going to happen. But also, like with handstand, you want to notice if you have a banana back. You want to tuck the tailbone like in our Tadasana, our mountain pose. Sorry, my voice probably sounds crazy. I really can't breathe, y'all. The joys of yoga. Connect to your breath. Mine is somewhere else on the spiritual plane. And again, this is a good pose for the crown chakra as well because it's an inversion. You're having the crown free here. All right, so just trying to bounce the leg. And see, you can tell that I like to come into a scorpion because I'm sticking my butt out real bad. So I'm going to try to keep my core together. And it didn't happen. Here I am on my back again. Didn't hurt, totally fine. So get comfortable falling. Because I find it's very hard to kind of kick up if you're worried the whole time of ooh, am I going to kick myself over? Then you tend to hold back with your kicking. So you want to be able to fall like I did. It's not the greatest, it's not amazing, It doesn't feel like a pillow, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't kill you or anything like that. So again, make sure that you can do it safely, like I do, like where you catch yourself with your feet. And you're not just like slamming your body flat on your back. You will wind yourself severely. And as always, tuck your head immediately. Just those kinds of things. So practice rolling out. Give yourself a couple of tries with that. Once you feel comfortable doing that, again, test your space to know that you're not going to hit something. Or put a wall, couch, do it towards that. It can really be helpful. Technically, you don't want to practice handstand and that kind of thing against a wall where you're kicking up into it, because that can really accentuate the banana back. I personally don't mind it because I find I can kick up in my little banana back, and then I can sort of take one foot off, suck in my, scoot my tailbone, engage the core, and that's where I can play with lifting the other foot off. So for me, I'm not as, dramatic about it. If you would like to do that, I don't think it's terrible. But of course, everyone's different. Everyone's teaching style is different. I also can't just do a handstand in the middle of the floor, so maybe I'm just talking crap here. So we've done our feathered peacock. That was great. That was fun. We're gonna cool it down because I'm dying. It's all good stuff to play with though, right? I find sometimes yoga classes can get a little regimented. You're doing your flows, you're doing your standard positions. Sometimes it's fun to have gymnastics playtime a little bit. You can make some shapes with yoga. It is beautiful and fun. So it's nice to try the advanced poses sometimes, right? As long as you make sure that you can do them safely and not hurt yourself. So we're going to come into our butterfly pose again. Same thing, we're going to release the neck, since you do kind of pull it up a lot. I don't know if you guys can notice, I am actually favoring my neck a little bit. It's not from the headstands or anything like that. I just apparently am old now. I don't know. It happened overnight. Oh my goodness, it creeps up on you. But I can't sleep like a normal person, I guess. I crink my neck constantly. So I've crinked my neck a little bit last night, so I'm a little wonky in the neck today. I probably shouldn't have been doing headstands, but I wanted to. Don't be like me. Honor your body. Am I a hypocrite? All right, inhaling. Shut up, Nicole. Exhaling forward, flat back. Create space, grow a little longer, and release, letting the neck hang heavy. Maybe rock side to side a little bit. Just letting that go. We're done our inversion practice for the day. Inhaling slowly, coming up. We're going to plant one hand. You can do whichever side you'd like. Inhaling the other hand up overhead. And just starting to stretch to one side. As always with our side stretches, noticing if you're closing off the upper body, try to peel that shoulder open so that you can gaze up at the elbow. If you have a sore neck, you can gaze down at the ground or just ahead, but you do want to make sure that you're peeling the chest open. Bending into that hand that's on the floor so you can really breathe into the side body here. Making sure that both sit bones are still down. You don't want to be lifted up here. So really stretching into the sides, the ribs. Inhaling back to center, planting the other hand. Exhaling up overhead. Again, opening the chest here. Breathing into the side body. Inhaling back to center. I like to cross my feet here. It's just more comfortable for me personally because I have quite tight hips, so this is a little more comfortable than butterfly pose, but you can keep the soles of your feet together if that's comfortable. We're just going to do a couple neck stretches. So just dropping one ear to one shoulder, noticing if the shoulder creeps up towards the ear, just relaxing that down. Dropping the ear. Maybe playing with some movement, dropping the chin slightly, or raising it a little bit. As always with neck stuff, you want to make sure that you're moving very slowly and gently. No jarring movements. And beginning to tilt the chin down, we're just going to very slowly start to roll the neck to the center, maybe taking a moment here in the middle, and then rolling it up to the other side. Again, relaxing the shoulders down, letting the ear fall heavy, maybe playing with tilting the chin down or up. Seeing what feels good for you today. And again, beginning to tilt the chin down, slowly rolling. Head to center, maybe rocking it a little bit in center. And up and over to the other side. And just completing a few more little half circles like that. Breathing in and out through the nose. If you're really craving a full circle, you can go ahead and drop the head back. Just pay attention to the safety of the neck. For me, if I were to drop my head back right now, I think it would snap off. So that's a no from me. But if that's what you're craving and it feels good, then go right ahead and do that. Just making some slow circles, trying to work out any tension that's created in the neck. Anytime we're in an arm balance or an inversion, or a bit of both of those were arm balance inversions, it can create a lot of tension in the shoulders and the neck that you don't realize. So always making sure that you're rolling the neck out afterwards, making sure that that's staying safe and stretched out. So we're going to come down onto our backs now. So just slowly rocking down as gracefully as possible. Am I dramatic, you guys? All right, so here we are. We're going to cross the legs over, coming into our figure four. So again, whichever leg you want to start with, just bring it up and then cross that ankle over your knee. Keeping the toes flexed back to protect the knee. You want to energetically, you don't need to use your hand, just start to press that knee open. You can stay here if you'd like. You can also start to rock the hips side to side. I had a lunchtime yoga practice earlier today and we did this pose and I rocked to one side, and I haven't done yoga for a couple days. I rocked to one side and my spine just went like all the way down. Oh my goodness, it felt so good. So you may notice that you hear some cracks or pops here. Again, that's fine. Just moving carefully as always. Don't throw yourself from side to side. But your back might crack a little, and that's just letting extra air out that might have gotten stuck in between certain joints. So just rocking that out, coming back to center. You can always stay here if this is enough stretch for you. If you would like, you can reach through the legs, reaching for the back of the thigh, or you can reach for the front of the shin. I like the back of the thigh, and then I like to typically just bring my leg back to about a 90-degree angle, flexing the toes back again, and then just releasing yourself down towards the floor. Pulling the knees in towards the chest while peeling this knee open, breathing, noticing if you're really crunching in the arms or the chest. You can always do this with a strap as well. Really feeling that stretch in the glute. And releasing that down, planting both feet, just windshield wipering the knees back and forth. And then planting the legs, we're gonna do the opposite foot. So raising that foot up, crossing the ankle over the knee again, keeping those toes flexed back, protecting the knee. And again, you can rock the hips side to side here. If that feels good. If you don't like that, you can always just move right into your figure four. Well, technically we're in our figure four, but you can move into the deeper expression of it. So just coming back to center, again, pressing that knee open. You can stay here, you can reach through and reach for the back of the thigh or the front of the shin. And just relaxing the shoulders back towards the ground, pulling the knees in towards the face while peeling that open knee away. Feeling that stretch in the hip flexor and the glute. Breathing in and out through the nose. And just releasing that. We're going to come into a supine twist here. So whichever way you like to have your legs the most for these, maybe you like cross legs. I personally just love a 90-degree angle supine twist. Sometimes it's nice to do a figure 4 twist. I'm just going to go for the basic one, but if you have a specific style that you like, you can go ahead and do that. So leaving the arms out to a T, or depending on space restrictions, you can do goalpost arms. Bringing the knees up and just dropping them over to one side. You want to really keep that shoulder rooted, the one that you're rolling away from. So perhaps the knees don't meet the ground. You can place a block or a pillow under them. You really want to keep that shoulder rooted. And the gaze can look over at that opposite arm or straight up at the ceiling if you have jacked your neck in your sleep. Let me know if you have any nursing home recommendations for me. Breathing deeply into the belly, feeling that little massage on the organs. Twists are so nice for digestion, cramps, the spine, the lower back. Oh, they're just so delicious. So really taking the time to breathe into all of the space that you're creating. Sometimes the twist can feel restrictive, especially if you have a little bit of a belly like me. Sometimes it can feel like you can't breathe when you're in a twist, but sometimes you just really try to breathe into that expanse. There's still the same amount of space, your body's just moved a little differently, so try and really feel into it. Right now I can feel that my lower back has so much more space created, so where I've lost the space for my belly to breathe as freely, I can really feel that space in my back. And inhaling the head back to center, followed by the legs. We're just gonna rock right over to the other side, dropping the knees, again planting that shoulder. Gaze can look over that opposite hand or straight up at the ceiling. Breathing that space into the body, finding an area that can create more space where you maybe lost some. And also breathing deeply into the belly, just letting the lack of space give your internal organs a nice massage. And noticing if you're still gripping, you're still gripping quite a lot. I notice with this, I like to place my top hand on my knees, but I find my knees can stay there without the hand. The hand is just for comfort, but I notice that I'll be like death gripping onto my knee. Let go. Let that go. Notice if you're crunching your face, maybe you're clenching your toes, maybe you have a little fist on one hand. Just find if there's a space where you're still holding on to some tension and just let it go. We're almost done our practice here, so you can almost move on with the rest of your day. So just really commit now in these last few moments to just accept this moment. There's nothing else you need to do. It's only a few minutes. Just really sink in. Inhaling the head back to center, followed by the knees. We're gonna lift the legs up, reaching through the insides of the knees, reaching for the shins or perhaps the outsides of the feet, coming into our happy baby so you can rock side to side here, pulling the knees in towards our armpits, perhaps straightening one leg and the other, wiggling around here, getting out those last bits of movement that you need to before we come into our final resting pose here. So pulling against the feet while you're pressing the feet against the hands. This is going to flatten the lower back out along the floor. Really feeling the hips get their last little stretch. I like to always release my legs from there and hold on to my ankles as if I'm coming into a bound angle pose, but very relaxed. I'm not trying to pull the feet in towards each other or anything. I kind of just let it go, maybe rock a little bit. This is a nice lower back release as well. Maybe rolling the ankles, just getting those last little bits of wiggles out. And when you're ready, just moving towards your Shavasana, your final resting pose. If your lower back is tender, you can bring the feet out as wide or wider than your yoga mat and let your knees fall in towards each other. You can always take Shavasana on your belly or in the fetal position if that's more comfortable for you. If you would like to take the standard Shavasana, just tucking the tailbone, releasing the feet out long, tucking the shoulders under, palms face up, letting the toes fall open. And just letting the body sink. Knowing that because of gravity, the earth is always going to be there to hold you, to support you. You always will have a place to lay your head, to ground, and to let go. So just surrendering to that feeling that you are held and that you have a place in this world, whether physically in space, the space that your body itself takes up, and also in a more broad, perhaps spiritual sense as well. Knowing that whatever you feel is valid, but also knowing that you are not your feelings. And perhaps you've been feeling particularly sad, a heaviness, maybe an annoyance or frustration. Just viewing these emotions as experiences. No need to shy away from them or not experience them, but you also don't need to identify with them. Just because you feel anger does not make you an angry person. And just because you feel sadness doesn't make you a sad person. You are whatever you want to be. And you can always change that. So as we let go with our physical body into the earth, also allowing your mind to let go, coming back to that space, that bright white light shining from the crown of the head, the heart, the whole body, reaching up towards the universe, searching for answers, and knowing they are always there, available to you. Knowing that your existence here has a meaning, whether you believe in a spiritual meaning, a religious meaning, or if you just wonder if we're all just kind of floating around. You're meant to be here, exactly as you are. and the universe, the one. Everybody here needs you. Noticing when the mind wanders, just bringing it back to the breath. Something in your eye makes me want to lose myself. Makes me want to lose myself in your arms. Something in your voice makes my heart beat fast. I hope this feeling lasts for the rest of my life. If you knew how lonely my life has been, and how low I felt for so long. If you knew how I wanted someone to come along and change my life the way you've done. Feels like home to me. Feels like home to me. Feels like I'm all the way back where I come from. Feels like home to me. Feels like home to me. Feels like I'm all the way back where I belong. A window breaks down a long dark street, and a siren wails in the night. But I am alright, 'cause I have you here with me, and I can almost see through the dark there's a light. If you knew how lonely my life has been, and how long I've waited for your touch. If you knew how I wanted someone to come along and change my life the way you've done. Feels like home to me. Feels like home to me. Feels like I'm all the way back where I come from. Feels like home to me. Feels like home to me. Feels like I'm all the way back where I belong. Feels like I'm all the way back where I belong. Beginning to deepen the breath. Allowing small movements come into the fingers and the toes. Perhaps rolling the wrists and the ankles. Maybe taking a full body stretch, reaching the arms up long overhead. And when you're ready, just slowly bringing the knees up, rolling yourself over to your favorite side, into the fetal position. Just resting here for a moment. And taking your time, just very slowly using the hands to help press you up, coming into a comfortable cross-legged position, and keeping the eyes heavy or closed. And again, just going to come back to that visualization of that expansive white light shining from the top of the head, the mind, the crown of the head, just opening up like a lotus flower. And just allowing that space to feel comforting to you, open and expansive, knowing that you are giving the world everything that it needs, and that everything that is flowing from your body, the energy, the love, is reaching every person on earth, and the nature, the trees, the ground, the sky, the universe, every being is feeling this energetic feeling of love and light pouring from your body, and that the light, that bright white light, also works in reverse. So while you are flowing out with this energy and joy that you're putting into the world, so too does it return back through that same light, the energy of everyone on earth, the energy of nature, of the universe, the love, the joy, all coming back, filling up your cup. And as we begin to start at the beginning, visualizing that bright, beautiful red light shining from the space at the very base of your spine, that root chakra, Feeling that light shining out in all directions. And as you flow up into that space just beneath the belly button, just feeling and visualizing that orange light flowing and mixing with the red below it. And tuning in with your sacral chakra here. And as you flow up even higher, noticing that beautiful shining yellow light that spreads forth from that place between your ribs, right in the solar plexus, just above the belly button, melting down into the orange and red below, igniting your solar plexus chakra, and sliding up this energetic line into your heart space, seeing this warm, comforting green light beginning to shine from the center of your chest, flowing outwards, creating this beautiful rainbow effect, mixing with the other colors before it. And flowing up into the throat, seeing the cool blue light flowing forth from the throat chakra, mixing with the green mixing with the yellow, yellow to orange, and orange to red, seeing as each chakra lights up in turn. We flow up to the space between the eyebrows, the third eye chakra, seeing an indigo, purpley light as your third eye opens and sees all. Now flowing to the last chakra as we join it all together with that expansive white light, that iridescent light that somehow encompasses every color of each of the 6 chakras before it. It is no color, but it is every color. And you feel balanced as all of these planes of your body flow together, feeling that comfort, that oneness with your body, with your mind, with your spirit and the universe. Knowing that you are here for a purpose. You exist for a reason. And everything about your existence is exactly what it needs to be. And it is a gift. I apologize. The ending of the meditation there, the mic cut out, so you can't hear the singing bowl. It does play at the very beginning of this video, though, if you would like to go back and hear that. Otherwise, let's just take a deep cleansing breath in through the nose and opening the mouth. Let it go. Let's go ahead and bring the hands to Anjali Mudra, heart center, bowing the head slightly,
taking a moment to honor yourself, for taking time out of your day to do something just for you. And just taking a moment to feel into the body and feel that gratitude for yourself, for your mind, your body. We can very often become very critical, just thinking to ourselves, if I get this one thing, if I achieve this one thing, if I lose these pounds, then I'll be perfect. Then I'll be good enough. I just invite you to sit with the knowledge that you are exactly what you need to be for this earth. You are perfect. You are perfect. You are perfect. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. The divine in me honors, acknowledges, and bows to the divine in you. Namaste. Thank you everybody so much for joining me today for this video. I do apologize for the glitch with the mic at the end. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon to be notified every time that I post. I post every Saturday, as well as occasionally during the week if the mood strikes. You can comment below and let me know how you are feeling having completed these chakra videos. If you would like to see more videos relating to the chakras, please let me know. I can always do a live on Instagram to talk about them and take questions and that kind of stuff. You can find me on Instagram at Harmonious Hippy, and go ahead and follow me over there as well. I'm considering starting up some live classes there during the week and the weekends, maybe during the morning or the evenings, depending on what people want. If you are in the area, if you're ever in Grand Cayman, every Monday at 5:45 p.m. at Governor's Beach, there's a free beach yoga class led by myself. And if you'd like more information on that, please go to the Facebook group Harmonious Beach Yoga. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you guys so much. It means so much to me that I can bring yoga into the world to other people, whether one person watches these videos or 100. I've done my job, so thank you so much for listening and watching and being a part of this community. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here. Namaste.